Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Stranger of Sword City. I feel like a little bit of an idiot because about a week ago I actually recorded a first take of this video and I ended up saying that I didn't think you were capable of changing your difficulty in-game until after you'd earned a ridiculous amount of money to do so. Turns out that was wrong, so I have to come through here and record this video again. Although I'm not entirely sure if I missed the difficulty window or if it didn't just come up at all. Like, I went back and tried to make a new game and it did show up that time, so I'm not entirely sure how I missed it. But anyway, I'm gonna have to take you through the video again, which, you know, this is what I'm here to do. And my current game's got about 3 hours in it. This is where I gave up just because everything became too strong. I am playing on normal, but the weird thing is that the beginner difficulty mode apparently has some real balance problems. Like, I've only played through the normal game, but apparently beginner has worse grind walls than normal mode. It makes no sense to me. I did not mean to hit that. Bloody Vita system dialogue being reversed sometimes and not reversed other times. But anyway, let's take a quick look around the place that we're at here. So, if you've ever played an experienced dungeon RPG like, what's it called? Like Demon Gaze, or Operation Abyss, or the upcoming Raid Gigant, which is out next month, but apparently review copies are going up very soon. So, you'll know exactly what's going on here, basically. So we can go have a look at my party first. My party are all made up of specific races and classes. Class is the only thing that really matters because it determines what skills you can learn. So I've got a bunch of different skills here for my class, and you get more as you level up. Mages also get things like skills. Everybody's also got a talent, so I can check the talents of everybody, and you can choose your talent when you make your characters. And they're all fairly useful talents, and it's probably worth keeping at least one of each around. You've also got Divinities, which require morale, that are like special spells that can be used by the main character, or really any character. You've also got wife points up in the top left there. These are arguably the most annoying part of the game, because Jesus Christ. I'll get onto why those are annoying though. So, yeah, as you can see, you get spells with the cleric, and you get spells with the cleric, and you get spells with the good old wizard as well, because that's exactly how it works in these games. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same as any sort of experienced RPG you've played before. There's hiding a map, but we'll go into those later. You've got information, which is interesting. So, every time you beat one of the major boss monsters called lineages, you'll get a blood crystal. And using these blood crystals will let you get more of the divinity-focused powers. So, you can get a fairly good amount of abilities here. And the lineages are actually quite interesting in my opinion, because here's the idea. You have your lineages, and it gives you a hint on where to find them. So you do have to go like actively searching for them, but they do give you a bunch of ideas on where they are and how to find them. So the Mausoleum of Metal actually has the Cheap Master Thief, and he requires a black sweet candy. So you actually have to go and buy that and then go down and try and find him. But yeah, as you can see, there's a bunch of different boss monsters to go fight. You've also got quests, which are pretty obvious things, really. They just give you things to do. It's pretty obvious. And you've got your item monster encyclopedias. You've got your map, which I'll be showing off later. Battle records, I forgot how badly that kills the capture kid's frame rate, but yeah, it just gives you your stats and everything. And you've also got an online leaderboard, which is a little odd, but yeah. Never mind. A tiny bit odd. We can go have a look at the options here. So you've got all your different voice sliders and voices that you can turn on or off, and all the usual stuff you expect from a dungeon crawler game. And we also have visuals. Now, if we go to the base, we can see this lady and her original sprite. But if we change it to original sprite, as in this game actually came out on the Xbox 360 like 5 years ago, and those were the original sprites. So if we apply this and exit, it should change the sprite to her second sprite, which I'm a much bigger fan of Type A, so we'll be keeping on Type A. Doesn't affect the portraits or anything, which is a little odd, but we'll let that go. You can also come here to change the order of your party, because this game works like every other experienced RPG. You've got 3 in the front and 3 in the back, and the people who are in the back are less likely to get damaged in front, but those weapon ranges, it's all about as you would expect. Now, this is the one part of the system that I really don't like. This is the revive and recover screen, so you can make different party members, but unfortunately, if they die, you will either have to pay a large amount of gold to revive them immediately, or you'll have to let them revive over the course of several days. Unfortunately, the game doesn't have an in-game clock, so you can't actually tell how long is left until someone's ready to get up, realistically. They say going into higher level dungeons or having higher level battles, I can't remember which one specifically it was, will let you revive people faster. But either way, it's still a bit of a pain in the ass because you don't know exactly when these people are going to be back and available. And this lady's actually my archer and she's got my good bow, so it's really kind of annoying to lose her. Plus, see those life points up in the top left? Run out of them and your character disappears. They're gone forever, and as far as I'm aware, all their equipment goes with them. Which is really goddamn annoying, because it is very easy to lose characters in this game, because they just tend to die once or twice, you're not paying attention, and when they die, they don't have offspring or anything that helps them get their experience back, so you have to train another character from level 1, so the game actively recommends training new characters constantly, which is a massive pain in the ass, especially since they can get knocked over if you decide to take them into the high level areas, or if you spend hours trolling around in the low level areas with things to kill. One way or another, it's a really annoying system and all it does is take up time. Lots and lots of unnecessary time and I don't like it. Not to mention that this game is actually really difficult, even on normal. And as I said before, on beginner, you can run into bosses that are way too high level. Like, they didn't balance the bosses to the learning curve of beginner compared to the actual monsters that are around the area. Which is really, really frustrating, honestly. But yeah, you can come here to manage your party, register new guys, change your class, which I don't really know why you would do this, because every time you level up, you have to permanently assign one stat. So, see the skill points down there? You have to permanently assign points to those stats. I don't know if you get to reorganize your points or anything like that, but yeah, I don't really see the point of that, because those points stick for good, and you can also talk to them, obviously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Oh yeah, there's also a shop, and that's pretty obvious. They also have your storage. So, and you can also come here to save and load. Unfortunately, you can't save and load anytime within the dungeon. And considering how fucking save-scumming happy this game is, it's really annoying that you can't save anywhere. It reminds me a lot of Dungeon Travelers 2, where that game was hard, but it let you save anywhere. So there was zero problems with it. But anyway, I'm going to take us into the Mausoleum Forest, because this is the second dungeon. The second one I've unlocked at the very least. And it's got... I know where one of the lineages are, so I can show off a battle with it. Although with my guys at the level they are right now, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to win. So, this is your typical dungeon crawling experience. The map starts out covered up and you have to go and uncover it. And there's a bunch of stuff hidden around. Like, if you've ever played Demon Gaze, you'll know exactly what these fucking turnstiles do. They just turn you into a random direction. And it's kind of hard to tell what way you're looking. I don't really get why these are here. They're just here to waste time more than anything else, aren't they? It's kind of annoying, honestly. Anyway, someone noticed something, so if we investigate, we'll find that this area can be ambushed. So, the way this game's item system works, I always liked Demon Gaze because it had a really unique way of determining how you could get items. This game's got it in a different way. So, since we're in an area where we can ambush, we can use our morale points over on the left there to ambush. And if we wait it out, someone will come along, and we have an enemy transporter. So, there's a box on the right there, and it's a metal box, so it's a tier 2. There's 4 tiers of boxes that I'm aware of. Silver, gold, metal, and wooden. So, the better quality the box is, the more likely you are to be able to actually be able to get what's in it. However, I can actively choose to pass this crate up, because if I pass it up, someone might come along with a better box. However, the more you pass on it, the more likely you are to be ambushed as you come out to actually fight them. But we'll attack first, because our chances of surviving this fight normally aren't good. Imagine how bad it would be if they got the first attack. So, as I said before, this guy's got all the Divinity skills. This is the main guy. He's got all of these, and they're all fairly useful, but unfortunately I don't have the morale for it. You get morale by winning fights, basically. You can run, you can use items and skills. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing that because it halves my defense. No bloody way. He's also got the same skill, but it's also worthless. This lady can concentrate, which is probably a good idea. And we'll use the skill of the mage and the cleric to get some better weapons out. And we'll just get this guy fighting as well. Now, this is actually a pretty interesting system. You can apply your actions and watch them all play out normally, or fast apply and let them all play out really quickly. I won't do that for the first couple of turns, just to show you what it's like, but the animations on this aren't really that impressive or interesting or anything like that. Usually, I my archer actually has the ability to tell me how much health these guys have left, which is really annoying. Also worth noting about, these fights is if you don't kill the leader who's in the background, they will run off with... I don't want her to concentrate. She'd be much better off just fighting, I think, up front. If you let the boss monster get away, which is usually told apart via the crown, like you can see there, they will actually take the crate with them. So you have to be very quick about attempting to take out that monster. Yeah, they're about to get it's about to get away, so I got to try and get as much damage done to it as possible. Thankfully, and I'll fast apply from here on in. Unfortunately, they ran away, but did I get to keep the crate? I did. And there's traps on it, a lot like Operation Abyss. So as you can see what traps are common to this, but it might not be what you outright expect it to be. So that actually went pretty well. I got an accessory, and this game works a lot like a typical roguelike, where you have to identify items that you have, and some members of your party can actually try to identify it, but if they fail, the item gets cursed. Oddly enough, this is the most forgiving identify mechanic I've seen in the game, because what it does is, if you take it back to base, it's a door. And there's a funnel on the side, doesn't really matter. But anyway, yeah, if you take it back to base, it'll get uncursed anyway, so it's not like you can lose the item forever, so that's actually kind of neat. I won't use their skills at the moment. I'll just fight. Fast apply is actually pretty useful if you're relatively confident. There's a problem though, because this game's balance is actually kind of bad, because in the very first dungeon, you will end up with lots of... Oh, he's been disabled. I might as well get his skill out. But yeah, in the early game, especially in the very first dungeon, which is the tutorial dungeon, because you're given tutorials all the way through it, some of the enemies can actually be extremely high level, and it's kind of ridiculous. So, if you run into enemies that are really high level and you don't notice, you will get screwed. Like, you will get massively screwed, because if you fight something that's a higher level than you, your guys will take so much damage so quick, they will basically just fall over and die. And if that happens at the very beginning of the game, you might as well just pack it up, go home, and start fresh. It's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Evil. It's not evil. I was thinking of what I said in the previous take, but yeah, it's really, really bad at times. It's ridiculous just being able to get knocked over by one enemy you didn't see coming. And sometimes running can fail, so you'll end up going up against these enemies, and you'll just get screwed, because they'll just steamroll you as you try to run away and fail miserably. It's kind of terrible. And the difficulty just means that if you're not absolutely sure of what you're doing, you will have to basically just... Oh, great, yeah, he's still curing. I gotta stop him from curing, because he's gonna run out of MP if he does that. I don't even need to do that. Like, I think it was Demon Gaze, you can get healing rings and healing staves, and you just use them, and they're like infinite cures, so it's pretty neat, but yeah. Either way, it's still pretty painfully difficult at times, especially since your characters have got that life point system. That life point system is arguably the most frustrating thing about the game, because it means you can't... Yeah, you can remove traps on the floor by investigating them. There are pits in the first dungeon that you can't find except for walking over them, which is kind of infuriating. Also, I'm going to imagine one of the lineages is through here, so I'm going to turn around and head back, because I do not trust myself to fight that thing. I'm in bad enough shape as it is. If I head this way, I think I can ambush in this part of the forest. See, the auto move system in this game isn't very good either. It's not very good in any of these games, is it? But yeah. So yeah, it's just frustrating because, I mean, I'd be more up for trying like Hail Mary strategies if it didn't mean that all my bloody characters are just gonna get fucking destroyed if they try. It's just a little bit disappointing, honestly. It could be a little bit easier on the game. And the thing is, if you start on normal difficulty and think, oh, I might as well go back down to beginner, you can't do that because the item that you need to change difficulty mid-game costs 5,000 gold. And throughout this entire game, I haven't gotten anywhere near that much money. Like, at this point in the game, 3 hours in, I've just barely got to that amount. And that's if I sell everything, including equipment that I wanted to, like, put on... If I wanted to put equipment on people, I'd have to ignore that. Just for the purpose of getting the, Oh, ow. Just for the purpose of getting... Just for the purpose of getting enough money to change the difficulty, I'd have to do that. And that's kind of frustrating, honestly. But anyway, I got the equipment, so... This isn't what I was here to do, though, so I might as well just, metal box, metal or silver box. Okay, I have a choice here, poison gas. Yes, I got it right, so... The game itself is actually pretty good, it's just really punishing. Like, extremely punishing, especially with the idea that your characters can only live 2 or 3 times. You do get a bunch of bonus points, depending on whether you want to, I'm just healing up my guys, if you couldn't tell. Oh, it's been cursed. Shit. Okay, let's use rings then. It's cursed. And it's cursed. Okay, so I guess it's not really infinite, but... Oh well, it still helps anyway, and I can go back to base and get them uncursed, but... It's still... Yeah, and yeah, it costs more morale points to ambush more times in a row, so you do have to run back to base every now and again. It is a really good game. It's just punishing as fuck. So you have to be, like... Really, really careful. Okay, here's a lineage type. So, this is a boss. You know the drill when it comes to bosses like this. They've got more stats. They're just more difficult to deal with in general. And I believe this one's actually capable of running away, which is really not good. But we'll just fight on. And hope I don't get the shit kicked out of me. Probably not the best chance of that right now. Not entirely great. You know, you can stay concentrating. I want you to... Yeah, multi-kill is probably a decent idea at this point. We'll firebolt the bitch in the background, and he will just fight as normal. And as you can see, the result of that move has resulted in me losing 4 characters out of 6. And now I have to go back and put them in the med fucking bay thing, whatever the hell it's called, the base, and let them heal up while I get like 4 new characters out. And fucking Christ, this is what I mean by punishing. The chances of me making it back to base now are really, really low too. I do have an item I can use that would let me go back to base automatically, but they're worth like 3,000 gold. And considering that you don't get much money in this game, except if you go like actively farming for items to sell, you really are screwed. And jeez, I really can't tell. Is it this way? No, that means like, if I get that one again, I have to turn to the right, and no, that didn't really help me out at all, did it? Fan-flippin-tastic. See why I hate these things? Wait, turn to the right again. There we go. And now I have to do it all over again. It's definitely not that way, so 1, 2, 3. There we go. So yeah, as you can see, really, really punishing, even on the normal difficulty. And as I said about the beginner difficulty, apparently it's got some real balance issues. I mean, I'll say it now. That was actually the way I needed to go, because of course it was. But, yeah, the complaints I'm talking about were apparently on the Xbox One version. But I wouldn't be surprised if they turned up here either. And even then, beginner sounds really, really punishing. Because, I mean, this is punishing as it is, but, yeah. So now these all get identified and they go back to the way they were before. And everything else gets identified, and you have to go sell these or equip them. That's actually a pretty good part. That's actually a pretty good tunic. But yeah, as you can see, here's the problem. I've got 4 knocked out people, so the best thing for me to do at the moment is to load my game and try again. So all the 20 minutes of stuff that I just did with all the items that I just got, completely worthless. Because I don't have a choice. It's either go and make 4 new characters and grind them at the very beginning of the first dungeon again, hoping that we don't run to really high-level monsters that we can't run from, or stand a very low chance of running from. You do have an ability that lets you run confirmed from any set of monsters, but yeah, it's still not very good because you have to use morale to do it, and it's just, ugh. It's a game, it's a dungeon RPG for people who like really hard dungeon RPGs. It's got all the experience stuff in there, which means it's got some level of quality to it, at the very least, because experience are pretty damn good at what they do, because they've been doing this dungeon crawler thing for like a decade or something now, as far as I'm aware. But still, it's really hard. It's definitely the hardest of the games that have been released on Vita so far. So if you're a bit of a masochist, it's probably worth your time to come pick this one up. Because there is a lot of, like, variety in the way of you have to handle things, and possibly building an entire army would be pretty good. Apparently, your party members that aren't in your party are supposed to get you, like, money. Well, they do get you money. They're supposed to get, like, money and experience. But I haven't seen them gaining any experience as I've been out doing stuff, which is kind of disappointing, honestly. But, yeah, it's just... like, say... alright, let's say we put her in the party. Oh, well, no, we can level her up from here. So, yes, I named her Salad. Don't ask why I named her Salad. I just named her Salad. Okay, apparently she does level up while she's not in the party, but not by much. Like, she's level 4, everyone else in my party is level 6, and she's been there for a while. So, let me sum up how I feel about this game just out here. I'll go back to the Mausoleum of Metal, because it's the first dungeon. I'll just wander around and... I'll just go and... actually, I'll go and do some ambushes underground and display a little bit more of the game's fighting, because... this has been a pretty short video by my standards. I should probably go to that staircase, so I'll just set the auto-navigate to take me there. But yeah, the game, it's a dungeon experience RPG, so as I said before, it's pretty good just on the level of being an experienced DRPG, but it's really, really hard. Like, it's the hardest one that's been out so far, so you probably want to avoid it if you aren't particularly good at dungeon RPGs. As I've said before, might as well fight this guy. As I've said before, the best dungeon crawler to start out with on Vita is definitely Demon Gaze. It is actually pretty neat to be able to fast apply past everything, but yeah, there he goes, and he takes the crate with him, so unfortunately I only get experience from this fight. Very low amount of it too. And now I have to go and get enough morale in order to unlock another... to have the morale to attack another spot. And then I have to... yeah. Just... the difficulty spikes and the fact that you have to, like, rest up your characters and they've all got limited lives to have is really frustrating, honestly. And unless you're a real masochist, I hate these fucking things because they're just amazingly good at avoiding every attack that I've fucking got. While it is a good game, it's just so hard and the difficulty gets cranked up so much that... I mean, I hit a grind wall in the very first dungeon, which is this dungeon, of course, because I had to do it to actually stand a chance of being the boss. And then, as soon as I go into the second dungeon, as you saw before, I'm nowhere near the level I need to be to fight the lineage types there, so it's another fucking grind wall. And again, grinding comes with its own disadvantage, because if your guys die, you either have to wait for them to come back, reload, and if you wait for them to come back, you have one less chance for next time. And as you can see, it's been like 50 turns, and these guys can just keep healing themselves forever, so away we go. Also, my party order got jiggered a bit there, so we got ambushed, but we evaded it, because of course we did. I hate these fucking pirate things. They completely killed my goddamn mage. So yeah, as you can see, not great. I mean, admittedly that was my fault because it was, I wasn't paying too much attention to the formation of my party. The only way you can bring this back to normal in the first few hours though is by using a consumable item that costs a lot of money. See, I'm kind of screwed here unless I do this. No, I'm kind of screwed here unless I can do this. There we go. But as you can see, I lost my mage, and I didn't mean to walk right back into that, because I'm a goddamn idiot. Let's do that again. So yeah. Overall, Stranger of Sword City, it's an interesting game, it's a good game. The problem is just that it's really fucking hard. And even with the beginner mode, I can imagine that being a bit of a problem because of the life points and all that. So it's just... yeah, it's probably one to avoid unless you have a fair amount of experience with dungeon RPGs, because God Almighty, is it difficult. I spent 3 hours in this bloody dungeon trying to level up to get past everything, save up as much money as I could, and yeah. only to come across another grind wall immediately in the next dungeon. It's just, God almighty. Why? Why? And now I can't even use morale to get away from these guys. That's just frustrating, honestly. I might put my other video on this game, like, unlisted down in the description. Just know that if you go and watch that video, you'll be working off false information. But even with the idea that there is a difficulty mode that I completely missed somehow my first time through, it's still a really, really frustrating game with the way the mechanics work. Like, if they made the game, if they made the balancing or the difficulty curve just a little softer, or if they made it so that you didn't have to spend a ton of money to get you guys instantly revived, or if they made it so there were no life points, if there were just one of several tweaks that could be made, the game would be a lot more palatable, but I don't want to save. The game would be a lot more palatable, but with the way the game is right now, I've lost interest. It's just so hard in the first dungeon that I've just gone and lost interest completely. So, that was a quick look at Stranger of Sword City. It's a good dungeon RPG, but you should only play it unless you've got a good amount of experience with dungeon RPGs, or if you're a masochist. That's basically it. So, this has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.